Hi, I'm Sylvanians, and I make videos about Sylvanian families, also known as Calico critters, and today I have an unboxing. This is a new item which was released earlier this year in the UK, but was first released around spring 2025 in Japan. This is the Fairy Charm display stand, and this is the Twilight version, which is blue. There's also a purple version, and that was exclusive to the 40th anniversary exhibition. So far, only the Twilight version has had an international release, and when Sylvanian storekeepers had a recent 20% off discount, I decided to get it. This is a really beautiful piece, which I think is meant for older collectors. As you can see, it says 8+ on the packaging, when most Sylvanians are for ages 3+. There's also quite a lot of small pieces, making this less suitable for very young children. There is creme and a baby fairy with blue tipped ears, along with a pretty stand. I think the part where the fairy is held can be removed as well, and there's sort of a crystal effect at the bottom. The packaging itself is really pretty too, with these stars, and on the top it says that this is part of the Charming accessory collection, though I think this is the first and only part of the collection so far. The design continues around the sides of the box, lots of little moons and stars and swirls. The back is actually quite plain, just the Fairy Charm Twilight again, and the safety information at the bottom, same as on the base. And this side is identical to the other. So let's get it open. So there is the stand without the glare from the packaging. There's also this sheet of paper which has instructions on how to remove the fairy. I just need to cut all of these stays. And there's creme. Oh, some more in there. There. And now the fairy part. Okay. And let's just move down a bit. So here is the Fairy Charm Twilight. In fact, I'll put the fairy back on for now. So there is the display piece with creme and the fairy all in place. It's really pretty with lots of different coloured plastic in varying finishes like pearlescent and translucent, and I think would look really lovely on a desk or shelf. Baby creme is creme, but she's just in a sitting position. So let's straighten her legs out. And she is kind of a princess. She has a big, beautiful dress which has blue, shiny satin material part over the top. These look kind of like swirls of beads. There are some actual beads on the front, these different gold ones. And then underlay it's sparkly tulle fabric with gold thread around the hem. There's a big bow on the back as well, that's really fun. And otherwise I think this is just elasticated, so it should be able to easily come on and off. She has a crown on, and that has the ball chain attached to it. I'm glad that she's not done in the usual keychain way, where it's attached into her head, and this can probably come off. Oh, maybe not. Well, the ball chain could come off the tiara, but I think that might be fixed in place. Her ears widen, so it might be hard to pull it out. No, I feel like it might be possible, but I don't want to ruin it. That has these swirls and a star on the front, like the packaging. If that star was a slightly different colour, I think it would look even better. But otherwise, she looks like the usual creme with moving arms and legs. and head as well, but very glamorous in her beautiful dress. I think I put that on wrong, so we can take another look in a moment. But this is like another keychain. It's got a fairy with some plastic wings, and that is attached to this pearlescent kind of wreath almost. It has got some orange plastic stars in to look like crystals, but otherwise just the pearlescent plastic, and that has the same gold ball chain at the top. I'm not sure if the fairy can come out. No, it looks like the wings are attached onto the plastic, so she is sort of trapped in here unless I was to cut the plastic apart, which I don't quite want to do just yet. The fairy is a little bunny mould, and using the new style fairy moulds where their body is this hard plastic and their limbs don't move. So with this one, the head does move. She can be turning side to side. She has a little gold crown moulded on top of her head, just between her ears, and the blue paint is quite rough, but has the ripples on the back, just like the chocolate rabbits have. The wings are a lovely yellow translucent plastic. I think there's glitter in there as well, and it contrasts really nicely to the blue of her dress and ears. The dress looks kind of like a flower with these kind of petal skirts and a big yellow gem in the middle, and it's very pretty. I do kind of wish that this could come out of the wreath thing, though I imagine that would make it even more difficult to mould. I have the mushroom fairy from the mushroom house, and this is a mouse, and yeah, you can definitely see similarities in the design of these, though this one, the mushroom one's wings are more solid, whereas these are more ornate. The stand itself looks like a big crescent moon atop a cloud and flying over the Sylvanian village. There is a hook part, I think, for Crème to latch onto. And this is all yellow plastic with stars cut out and the pearlescent plastic around the edge. This is the fairy sky ship, and for some reason, I believe that can come out. Not quite sure why, but it's quite cute. I might even nab this and use it as a toy for my baby Sylvanians. But for now, it can stay on top. The cloud is a bit translucent and very pearlescent. And there's a little one on the back as well. Ooh, the hook just fell off. Then this almost looks like a sort of slide. It's very clear blue plastic with stars all down it, and they're not done in like an even waste, so it looks quite organic. It is very pretty. And then at the bottom, if I can get my camera to focus, you can see that this is all clear blue, a slightly darker blue, and looks like trees and little houses, and I believe this is meant to be Sylvania Village. So I could say that this is maybe a river, this part in the middle is kind of trees or a forest, then a few different houses. I'm not quite sure what this tower one is meant to be. Maybe they're just generic houses rather than specifically Sylvanian ones, unless you can tell any different. I guess that one could be the cozy starter home, but really interesting, and because they're quite small, it definitely looks like they're in the distance. Then the base of the stand is, I think, the same or maybe slightly different white plastic with lots of moulded details. Again, I think this would have looked really nice if there were the clear plastic gems in there or if it had been painted just for a bit more detail. And then at the front there's a gold piece where the Sylvanian family's logo is. And on the bottom you can see the indentation of all of the little houses and forest. This part at the back twists, and I think that is how you're meant to get the fairy charm to the correct point. Yeah, now she's hanging nicely. And if I wanted to, I could lower her down or bring her up. Okay, I think that's a good height. I'm not quite sure what this hook is for. I feel like it's maybe meant to be something to do with this keychain on Crème, but I'm not quite sure how that would work. So I think for now I'm just going to stand Crème back up on the cloud. So that is the Fairy Charm Twilight from the Sylvanian family's Charming Accessory Collection. There's no real play functionality with this, and it is meant to be a display piece. In fact, the figures are meant to be keychains, and the fairy isn't even supposed to come out of her wreath. I don't want to cut that off just yet, because she is really pretty and I'd love to have her flying around my fairy area. Although this is a really pretty piece, it is very expensive. Full price, this is $44.99 online, which is a lot of money for such a small piece. As I mentioned, I bought this when Sylvanian storekeepers had a 20% off sale, so this was about £36 for me instead. So a bit better, but certainly not affordable by any stretch of the imagination. There's quite a lot of detail in this, but it is just plastic, other than the metal keychain parts, and the stand itself isn't that weighty and almost feels a bit flimsy. That said, I do think this will look really lovely in the background of my videos or on a shelf with my other special Sylvanians, but I probably won't go rushing out to get the other purple version if that ever comes out in the UK. But let me know what you think of this set, and if you like that Sylvanian families have things for the older audience as well as children, and what other things you'd like to see from them. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like Sylvanian families, then subscribe to my channel as I post videos every week about everything Sylvanian, including unboxings like this, as well as all the latest news and announcements.